So good to see you, Lisa.
You too, Nate. Obviously, I'm all fired up today.
Yeah, well, I think that's a good way to start the conversation because the topic I wanted to bring up and discuss today, it's mid-November. We're heading into the rest of the year. The holidays are approaching. People are starting to leave the office. As early as December 1st, I feel like COVID shut everything kind of down a little bit earlier for most of corporate
Yeah.
America. But at a personal level, I want to just talk about the importance of the continuation for monotonous tasks. It's really easy for us to push things out. A lot of times, a lot of people think about just their health in general, what they're consuming, the amount of food and sweets and sugars that are available.
Yeah.
I think that's less relevant for us when it comes to mental fortitude and habitual growth. I really think that there is just an importance of being able to cut out the noise, being consistent in your actions and finishing the year strong. It's not done yet. 2025, despite it being right around the corner, there's still a lot of time towards for the rest of the year, about 6 weeks remaining. And so let's just have a discussion about one, kind of what you see in your own personal life, how you're avoiding the noise and the distractions to finish the year strong. And then two, what does it take mentally to really just push through the times when you're like, man, I just don't want to do this again. I've done this a million times. I'm on autopilot. Like, how do you get out of that cycle and just make sure you're putting a lot of intentionality behind those types of things?
Yeah, I think it's a great topic. And I actually saw a post the other day, which feeds into this topic. So I do have thoughts, specifically about what I'm going through and why it's so important. But this particular post was around continuing to network. And that is a monotonous task for a lot of people. I know you and I actively engage in reach outs and trying to connect with people. It's part of how we grow our mission. And the post was around, you may network and feel like it's not doing anything for 5 years, for 10 years. And then all of a sudden, that work becomes the most valuable thing you've ever done. And I think that actually is exactly what we're talking about when it comes to the monotonous tasks, because you can feel like it's the last thing in the world that you want to do, and you feel like you've done them for so long. And especially during the holiday season, when it seems like people either fall into the bucket where they completely check out because it's like it's an excuse to fall off the wagon and stop doing the things that they need to do, or they feel like there's this added pressure because there's happy hours or other social events or work deadlines before the holidays, and it becomes one more thing that they have to do. And so they feel like their stress level is increasing, and stopping some of those consistent actions seems like a short-term solution.
Yeah.
But both of those scenarios actually put you further behind, and you lose the momentum and kind of that compounding effect of the consistent action that you've been working on all the way until this point.
Yeah. Yeah. And you said something really interesting there. I think it's people look and focus only on the task itself. I've got to eat healthier. I've got to perform this thing one more time. I've got to go on, walk my steps or whatever it is. And I try to now look at this in a perspective of what's the mental game, not what's actually getting done, but what's the mental game? Because oftentimes that's where the battle is lost, right? The battle isn't lost of, oh man, I just didn't go walk my steps, right? Or I didn't eat clean. The mental game is the battle's won. I made this decision and I need to be conscientious about the implications for them. As an example, today have something on my essential action list where I haven't done it in a while, but what I realized is I have these proven behaviors in the background and I'm starting to slack on them. And
Mm-hmm.
I have
Yeah.
to move something up into my essential action list because I know this is important. I know it is the thing that moves me in the right direction. And I'm just avoiding it. And I can't avoid it anymore. But that mental game that I'm talking about, that battle is, hey, this works for you.
Yeah.
Stop postponing it. Do it, whether you like it or not. And that builds the integrity, that builds the self-confidence that we've talked about. And that's the important piece. That's where you feel like, wow, I did this. It's not as scary. It's not as hard versus I'm just going to give up. That does something internally to the individual.
Yeah, for sure. And I think where people also go wrong in the mental game is it becomes an all or nothing. And so like so like an easy example is workouts, right? you're tired from work, you don't want to go to the gym, you're just not feeling it. And so we go, well, because I'm not in a great spot, I don't feel the best, I'm not going to have a good workout, therefore I'm not going to go. It would be a better workout than not going if you went and did the best you could. It may not be the best workout you've ever had,
Yeah.
but you showed up, you won that mental battle, you still moved your physical fitness forward, and you proved to yourself that you continue to follow through on the promises that you make to yourself. And so helping people understand that it's not always going to be perfection. It's not always going to be the best job that you could possibly have done, but showing up and doing the action to the best of your ability in that moment is actually where the power lies.
Yeah, exactly. Something is better than nothing. There's that cliche statement. You can always refine the something, but
Yeah.
something is better than nothing. And I think that's true for this. The other aspect that I like to think about and call out specifically is just awareness. This is a
Mhm.
time when a lot of people are tired. Me too. Like I think I slept 3 hours last night, right? But
That's
it's
terrible.
hard to get out of the cycle when you're tired and you're just like, oh, I'm just dragging and I need more coffee, and that just seems like a lot of work. When you can pull yourself out, when you can develop self-awareness and say, okay, I know I'm tired. I'm going to make excuses today. I need to be more aware mentally, which takes energy. And a lot of people don't want to take the mental energy, or they're just not aware that it's there. But the
Yeah.
more awareness you can bring to the table in your decision making, I'm tired. Okay, today's going to be a bit of a challenge. I'm going to get the critical things on my essential action list. I'm going to put them down. I'm going to get through those. And then I'm just going to have to be aware of some of the other decisions I'm making. When you get out of that autonomous state of just operating to get things done, to check them off your list, but more of, okay, I know I'm tired. This may not be the best workout, but I'm still going to make the effort to do it. That again builds the internal person that you're trying to achieve and chase, so that you're not just out there giving up on things and not even aware of it. And that, especially in this season when things can become autonomous, when we're all tired, when there's a lot of family around, when there's a lot of extra distractions, is really important, because you have to be aware of the decisions that you're making so you can make at least the best decision of your options that are at the table.
Yeah, and I love that because I talked about this on social media recently, going into the end of the year. So what's one decision that you can make, every day that's better? So make one better decision every day. Take one action that you otherwise wouldn't have. And I think sometimes that one decision is literally built out of self-awareness to say, I'm not, in the best place mentally because I am tired, I didn't sleep, or I feel extra stress. And the decision is still to show up and bring a positive energy and open-minded approach to whatever it is that you're doing, because it's really easy when you get tired or you don't feel like doing it, where your mind clouds it and kind of puts up this, sheet over it, and it's like, oh, well, I have to get it done anyways. And so then it becomes a negative, and that energy reverberates, across a lot of different areas. And so sometimes even just that one decision of, I'm going to show up even though I don't feel good, but I'm going to show up doing the best I can with a positive attitude and with positive intent. And then many times it actually becomes a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, no, 100%. No, I love it. I think that's great. I think let's end on that note. Again, just recapping, the game to success is one in your mind. So be
Yep.
aware. Monotony is there for a reason. You got to force your way through it. But I like that. Every day, what's one thing you can do to make a better decision for yourself? That does have ripple effects, it does have impacts, and it makes a significant difference. May not feel that or see that difference, day one, day two, day three, but within 90 days, you're definitely going to see a difference. And so let's get out there and make those better decisions.
Sounds great. Thanks,
All
Nate.
right. See ya.
All right. Bye.